So the first thing I need to do now is write up the business concepts, which are going to become Java classes by the time I'm done. So let's go back over here to my note paper. And what are my core business entities? Well, I have the user, I have me, right? I have the person who wants to get work. So I have our digital nomad, I'll call them. That's the person who wants to use the app to hook up with employers to get work. And maybe if it's a big job, they want to subcontract some of it out to some of their colleagues. So if I get a big job to develop an entirely new course for a university, I might design the main concept and then subcontract to another couple of people to do different parts of it. And now a lot of this is just becoming skillful at what you should name things by, but I want to have a name for a concept of a coworker. In fact, probably in general, it could be a number of colleagues that I want to subcontract out to. So I'm going to call that my virtual team, right? And there's going to be a server up there somewhere in the cloud. I might be registered as a virtual team member other people can call on, and I might want to browse this virtual team server to see who I can call on. Now, the good thing about UML is I don't need to address all that complexity right now. All I need to do is identify that I want a entity in my application space which lets me do that, which I'm going to call a digital team. Now, there's a concept here in UML called stereotyping. And here I'm stereotyping my digital nomad as a user. And I'm also stereotyping my digital team as a collection of users. That's actually going to be a collection of them because there could hopefully be a lot of people up there who will get interested in using my platform and get themselves registered. So far, to go from story space to program space, right, where my story is my description of my business domain, I want to go from my story space to some code that I can execute to make it happen. So in addition to me and other users I want to co-work with, what else do I need? Well, I probably need an employer or a contractor or somebody who's going to have some work that needs to be done. So how are we going to describe this person? Let's call them a client, I guess. They're a client because they have some work that needs to get done. And they're also going to be stereotyped as a user. They're not a delivery user, they're a work providing user, but they're still a user of the system, and they are a client with work that needs to get done. Is there anything else now between me and my client? I guess we need to have a description of work, so we need to have some sort of a website. We need to have a portal. Maybe a website where people can post their work that they needs to be done. I don't know, maybe somebody needs a database set up to solve a certain situation or whatever, so they can create that. This is a lot like these Elance websites, right? Maybe you've heard of them or seen them. They're websites where people can post work that they need to get done, and then somebody will come and pick up that job. They can negotiate the price and the terms and details. So here I'm going to say that this is contracts to be done, contract work that needs to be done. I'll say available to bid on, because normally the way these sites work is there might be, something up there, and then the contractor, the person presenting the work, will say, by Friday send me a email, tell me how you're going to do it, how much you charge, show me samples of other similar work you've done, and so on. Is there anything else? Now this actually, the business analysis, which is what we're doing right now, this is the hardest part of the entire process of developing a software system. To write the code is actually very simple, right? If you've got a good UML diagram, you can upload that, scan it, upload it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will write the code for you. But the human being still has to do this. ChatGPT, there is no AI, I know because I've looked for them, there is no AI which can do the business analysis. That is going from the business domain, which, by the way, if you think it's easy to describe a business domain, I'm here to tell you it's not. It takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of experience, insight, intuition. That's why I always encourage my students. I say, if you really want to climb up there to the top, cultivate your skills in business analysis. Couple being a programmer with being a business analyst, and it will amplify your income a lot. So what else do I need to do now to make my system work? I have me, I have other team members I can call on, clients can post work, and then we need a connection, right? So we need a mechanism, a hiring mechanism, or a sort of a mechanism so an employer can select a service provider, right? Maybe I should call that service provider. And also your UML analysis is where you come up with names for classes, data attributes, and methods. Now, I know if you've never worked as a professional programmer, you might be sitting there going, okay, so what? Like, why is that such a big deal? But I'm here to tell you that that is a very big success factor, because if you cannot easily come up with a name to describe something by, that means you don't really understand it very well, and that means your software product has a very good chance of failing. So is there anything else I've forgotten in my business analysis? Yeah, I need a hookup mechanism. I need a way, and that's called tendering, actually, tendering. I need a tendering mechanism. Tendering is when I put some piece of work out there, I advertise it, and I allow you individuals or teams to come in and make their bid, to bid on it, and then I accept one of them. We arrange the contract, we sign digitally. This work is going to be finished by a certain day. It's going to be done so-and-so. Here's the requirements. It's going to be done in Java. It's going to be done in whatever this environment is, and so on. So that's the tendering process. Now, the next thing I need to do for my UML analysis, in addition to having my business objects, so what I've gotten here so far is my business objects. So my business objects includes a service provider, a team, which I guess several service providers could get together and form a team to get a contract done. I need a tendering process. And then I need one more thing, which is a job. So a job is something which is going to connect a service provider and or a team. And let's say it's always a team, even if it's just a team of one, just to keep our design simple. So a job business object is going to connect a team with a description of work, with one piece of work. with a client. Does a job need anything else? It needs a doer, it needs a client, and it needs a description of work, and it also needs a contract. So now we have another. Do you see how I've done this? I have come up with the business objects in a sort of a brainstorming way. And in general, it would not be one person doing this. In general, you'd probably have, a couple of programmers, the technical manager, the client, the business analyst. You might have 3 or 4 or 5 people sitting in the room around the table, but at the end of it all, they would come up with something that looks like this. And when I have this, and I can just tell from experience because I've done it so much, this feels like a good, complete solution. This feels like what it needs to be to move onwards. So guys, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to, first of all, you have this video, which I'll post up to YouTube and I'll link into the class after we're done. I want you to take your vision, your SUD, your product description. Well, next week is March break, but anyway, you can do it. For the next class in 2 weeks, I want you to all have this. And I'm going to ask you to send it to me, so do it. And then I'm going to use this to guide you along the process. From here, we do what? What do we get from here? Screens, code, class hierarchies, and data structure. So this is your product code architecture. So I want you, and I'm going to end up the class now. You've got about 15 minutes, right? Maybe you use a couple of minutes now or get to it tomorrow. I want everybody to make this for your own product, concept, business domain. And then next week we'll take this and we'll generate code from it. I'm going to grab a screenshot of this question. Go.
Just take a photo of this. And
I'm going to do that right now. Yeah. Plus you have the video, but I'm going to grab a screenshot of this right now. Just give me 2 seconds here. Hang on. This desk camera is pretty useful. I really like this. I think it's just so much more pleasant instead of just having to like say 1,000 words. If I can just like draw a little picture here, it's a very, and I hope you're enjoying it a little bit too. But it's a very pleasant thing for me to do here. All right, so where is my? Oh, there it is. And also, tomorrow is tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is Friday. Yeah. So Friday night is, people like to invite their friends over, have a little video night and so on. I'm going to give you some videos you can sit and binge watch with your friends. They'll really enjoy them. They're very good videos. So give me a couple of seconds while I put the links here. Now this video is for Java. Well, actually, if we're doing Android, we could be doing Java, but the principle's the same for Swift anyway. So I'm going to share this one out with you. And lexical analysis. Lexical means word. Analyze means to study. Lexical analysis, we look for nouns in our SUD, and we look for verbs. The nouns become data attributes. The verbs become methods, and then this video teaches you how to do that. And my big video on UML overall, or unified processes, here. So watch those, invite your friends over, get some pizzas, some bottles of wine, whatever you like to drink, and you'll have a nice movie binge watching night. All right, so I will put I'll put a notice in the news forum so you remember to do this. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Oh yeah, I just wanted. No, that's not what I wanted. Hang on here. All right, guys, we're going to end the class now. If you have any questions, send me an email. But basically, just make that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's kind of a fun thing to get into, right? Once you get into that way of thinking about moving between story space and program space, then programming becomes much more interesting. All right, guys, I'm going to end my video. I'll kick it up to YouTube in about 20 minutes. I'll post it in your news forum. And that's about it. I really can't think of anything else to say. So there's